Brother Wes, I saw and heard rumor that you were up till 1 o'clock in the morning working. Is that true?
It's true. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing the same shirt as I was wearing when I did that. I had a couple doctor's appointments, and I drove to Columbus, and all sorts of fun. But I got the appointment, I think, probably because of the weather. So, but yeah, everything's good. That's what we
awesome. That's what we do. Hey, if you don't get it done, when you're supposed to, you get it done when you can, right? But you got to.
That's right. And we take every opportunity to make people happy. So that's what we do.
Exactly. I like it. I like making people happy. So, speaking of happy, the guy that's coming on today, I got to see him talk, and that's why I reached back out to him, because he's a mutual friend of another of our friends, Jared Ledford. But also, I saw him talk in York, PA. Actually, he talked right after I did a talk, and he and his like 5 guys in their yellow shirts were back in the background. I felt like they were going to heckle me, so I was getting a little nervous, But anyway, he's a great guy, and he had a great story. And we got 2 choices. We can talk for a while or bring Andrew on. Whatever you want to do.
I think we better bring him on. It's always fun to have somebody from the building industry. So let's bring him on.
Yeah, he's had enough of the green room anyway.
That's right.
So, all right, let's go.
All right.
Andrew, my man, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. I told Wes shortly after I came back from York. That's been almost 2 months now already. Jeez, time flies, but we're close. But when I watched you talk out there, I said we got to get Andrew on. He's a guy that's in our same industry and great story. And so thank you for taking the time today to get on and chat with the folks a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely, it's my pleasure. And I had the hard thing of going after your speech. You did a great job, very well put together, and had the audience all engaged. And I was sitting back there. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? But it was great to hear you. Great to meet you. And I'm excited about being on here.
Well, great. Well, thank you. And I'm not paying for this, for you to be honest. You don't have to say nice stuff. No, just kidding. That's very nice. I appreciate it. And I felt the same. I really, a lot of times I'll sit in and try to watch other speakers just because it's interesting if the topic's interesting and you might learn something, right? And I had some places to be, or wanted to be, but you captivated me. You had me from word one. So I seldom set to those things because I always got other places to be or something I think I need to do. So anyway, giving you the props back, my man. That was good stuff. So tell us a little bit about who Andrew Boyle is, your company, and who the heck are you? For anybody silly enough not to know.
Sure. So I actually started in the shed industry back in 2014. We had a furniture store, and we had this acre beside us, and it just happened where a local shed dealer came to us and didn't want to rent the property. He wanted just to sell us his current shed lot, and we got into that. Shortly after that, we opened up our own RTO company, and we were super nervous. We took out a $50,000 loan, and we were like, I don't know how this is going to work. What if they don't pay it? Lo and behold, it worked out. But we kind of got a detour. We got into furniture business. We went and opened up 27 franchise furniture stores, and kind of still had that one little shed lot there. We turned it over. We sold that lot to my brother Peter. Got into furniture business real big, and then had some things that happened in the furniture world, and kind of got out of that. Now we're back into the shed side. My brother runs a manufacturing plant, and then I run the RTO company, and we're kind of just hitting the road, and we're like that. We're like you. We're that road warrior right now, out and just meeting dealers and meeting people in the industry, and it's an exciting time to be in the industry.
It is. It's a cool industry, and the thing that I sell a few products into the industry as a manufacturer, and so I'm relatively familiar with the shed world, and it's interesting to me, and it always surprises me how many sheds are out there, how many people that do sheds, but yet there's millions of sheds sold every year. It's just you start wondering.
Yeah.
Because I drive by, if you drive down the road, you'd think that every yard would have like 47 sheds, right? And it's an amazingly large industry, more than a lot of people think, right?
So I remember that was one of the conversations me and my brother had, was before we were worried about taking that $50,000 loan out. The conversation was, we're in a small town and we're like, how many people can buy sheds? I think the market is saturated. Maybe that's why they're wanting to get out. And we had all these, thoughts when you go into a new industry and you're kind of just taking somebody's word for it that it's great. And, we were driving around, they have a shed. Sheds, they don't disappear. And here we are years later, and so glad we got in the industry. I tell people this all the time. I've been in other industries, the furniture industry. There's nothing like this industry, and just the kindness of people, and even direct competitors helping each other out, giving advice. I've never seen anything like it, and it's a great industry to be in.
So so give us a little bit about your model. So you manufacture sheds, and you're in the RTO part of it. For anybody that might be silly enough not to understand, it's rent to own, right? So you'll deliver the shed, and they'll make a payment until it's theirs, or they don't make a payment, you go get it, I guess. But but you're also in the manufacturing side as well. So you have a dealer network set up that you sell your sheds through, and that's a little bit more on your brother's side, I would assume. And then you're doing the RTO. So tell us a little bit about how that that whole system works, as far as if somebody wants to get a hold of you guys. And I know you do some training and some things too, which we'll get into in a minute. But how do they get a hold of you if somebody wants to get into the RTO business? Do you help them with that part too, or would that go more to your brother's side with the manufacturing of the sheds and then become a dealer?
Yes, we actually have quite a few different things that we do in the industry. Of course, my brother runs the manufacturing side. We have a manufacturing plant in North Florida, pretty much service the entire state of Florida. The RTO side, we do the RTO for those dealers as well, but also we have quite a few other dealers that we service. You can see on the screen there pulled up is our main website. That's makingshedsimple.com. Kind of shows you the different things that we offer. But one of the things that I'm really passionate about is the RTO, the rent to own. It makes it, everybody's approved. It's a simple way for the customer to get, that shed they need. And it's a lot of times cheaper than renting a storage unit, and they can have it in their backyard. It's a lot more accessible. One of the things that we have coming up right around the corner in September is the Shed Sales Summit in Knoxville. We started this I think this is our 4th year, and something we're passionate about training, about helping the industry. And we have a great lineup this year. If you guys are in the area or going to the Shed Builder Expo, check it out, shedsalessummit.com. And I think it'll be a help to you guys. It'll be, just a fun time to be there.
That's awesome. And that's the thing that struck me is you not only are you manufacturing sheds, shipping to a dealer network, doing the RTO thing, but you're so giving to the industry, and you're teaching people how to do things, like having the expo and those kind of things. And is that been the give back to the industry? Is that something that's been important to you for a long time, or is that kind of something that you fell into, or how did you get so involved? Because I was with a bunch of your guys in York, PA, a few weeks ago, and you guys are all about giving back to the industry and being there for people. It's just a philosophy you guys just adopted and love, or how did you get involved in that?
So it's kind of the shed industry has a special place in our heart. So the story of the furniture side, we grew to 27 furniture stores. We were in 3 states, and it was going great. We had still been involved in the shed industry on a small scale, but the long story of that is the parent company we were a franchise of filed bankruptcy, and within 90 days we went from 27 furniture stores, 150 employees, 3 states, down to 0. forced to liquidate everything. We were stuck with these buildings. And it's right at that time, my nephews had started building sheds in their backyard they wanted something they wanted to do. They were looking up YouTube, just kind of, dabbling in it. And a great person in the industry, actually, we got in contact with about a manufacturing plant. My brother called them at 6:00 at night. I think they drove up there. They got there at 9 p.m. By midnight, they had a deal. And we've launched full blown into the shed industry. And there's been a lot of people that have helped us out along the way and got us to where we are today. And it's just a great industry. We want to give back. One of the things that we're starting this year is the National Shed Show. That's going to be in February in Daytona Beach. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have the Shed Sale Summit there. We're going to have a lot of exciting things. And, we were actually in the office today trying to figure out what can we have to bring the community together. Not that we have to charge for, or something that we can just, for one of the things we're going to do is we're going to do one of the nights we're going to have a volleyball tournament, just to get everybody together and, enjoy some fellowship, but just to kind of give back to the industry. That's kind of when we were in our lowest point in our careers, helped us out the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Daytona Beach. I got a good friend that lives up in Daytona Beach, so I'll have to stop by and see you guys when I come up that way.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you use simple on your shirts, and I know that means something. To walk us through what that means.
Sure. So we have a lot of companies named Simple RTO, Simple Shed Marketing, Making Sales Simple. We use that a lot, and it's very near and dear to my heart. So when we were a part of the franchise, like I said, in the furniture world, in franchise, in that there's a lot of rules. It's not simple, and it's kind of very constrictive on growing and operating. And I remember we had talked about with me and my brother and some of our teammates, like, what would we do if we had full control? And one of the things we always came back to was simple. And we actually came up with an acronym for it. And that is stop selling, solve the problems, ignore the numbers, misfits win, is stand out in a crowded world. And I think, Randy, you're a good explanation of, of that, of just being yourself and, going at your speeches. I seen that, and that's, everybody loved it. And I enjoyed it. Proverbs principle is a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. And just going on that is there's so many things in life and being in part of the franchise world where a lot of the stuff didn't make sense. And it was like, there was time and time again of examples of that, of where your good name either helped you or it hurts you. And then we have the L is leave memories, is people forget transactions. They remember experience. And the lastly is E is embarrass yourself. And that is the fear of failure kills creativity. And so we kind of had those core principles. We kind of formed them in. We got into the shed industry and we're like, we have the control to do whatever we want, to be as big or as small as we want, to be as helpful or, hurtful as, to our competition as we could be. And so when we got this, that's why we named it. And our goal with our rent to own company, with our sales training, everything we do is to be as simple as possible. So when you use us for your RTO, there's a lot of things that, we're going to make simpler as far as the process of getting paid, the process of getting your paperwork done. And it's just, that's what we're passionate about. And then giving back to the industry and making those memories and helping people make those memories and leave those impressions in the shed industry.
Man, I love that. And all of those are great. The two that really stuck out to me is, number one, simple. As a whole, I'm a big believer that we just, in today's world, make business it's like we go out of our way to make it complicated. We go out of our way to make it hard to do business with us at times, right? We just, everything we talk about policies and procedures, and most policies are put into place. Again, I understand you have to have some certain operating policy. I'm not saying you just go willy-nilly, right, with things. I mean, that means you show up at 10 or 11 or 12, or you don't have any pricing structure. I mean, you got to have stuff.
Sure.
But so many times I see companies that forget about being customer centric, and they think about being us centric, and everything they do is based on what's best for me, what I want, it, how it's easier to me. And they forget completely, what's good for the customer, because ultimately, if it's good for the customer, unless it kills us somehow, it's probably going to be best for us at the end of the day. And keeping it simple, it's really not more complicated. I know there's other little things in it, and people that love that stuff would argue with me all day, and I get it. But it's really, you make a great product, you sell it at a fair price, you do what you say you'll do, and then you go do it again. Right? I mean,
Right.
it's not a lot more complicated than that, is it?
Yeah, it's simple. And I tell people this all the time, and I probably said when I was up there in York, is times are changing. You know, right before I got on this, I wanted to buy some plane tickets, and I have an AI bot, and I just told my bot, "Hey, buy these tickets." It literally filled out all my information, my kids' information, and all I had to do was press pay. And so the process, it's just ever evolving. And so if we don't change with that, now we don't have to have a robot out in our lot or wherever, but when that customer comes to make that purchase, they look on the lot, they're going to take their time. They're looking at buildings or sheds or whatever they're looking at. They're going to take their time. And I like to compare it to this. When, you or your wife goes to the supermarket, do they just go to the oranges and just throw them in the bag, the apple? No, they take the apple and they look at it, and they get the oranges and they put it. But when they go to the checkout, do you look for the longest line or the shortest line? You look for the shortest.
Exactly.
And not only that, you get frustrated. You just spent 10 minutes looking for an apple. But now for 1 minute in line, you're like, what in the world? Right. And sometimes you'll get your stuff and you'll go to the other line, and you'll switch lines. And we fail to see that sometimes with our customers is the process has got to be faster. It does not mean you just tell people, okay, here. When they get the computer, whatever it is, we've got to be constantly improving that, because 2 months ago, I don't know, but I just got into the AI world, and 2 months ago, I didn't have my own AI bot that would do all my personal stuff, but now I do. And now my mindset is changing. When I go to do stuff, I'm wanting it faster and faster. And so just staying up with the changes in the industry. And that's one of the things that we do with the RTO program. We have our own system where we can do it, and it can be faster and it's easier. And we're constantly looking at it like, can we take out 1 or 2 buttons here or there to make it faster and faster, because they're not wanting to sit there and do paperwork.
Right. Hey friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, ibuyfromrandy.com. And I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week, many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at ibuyfromrandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show. Yeah, it's funny, and I always get tweaked or interested. Anybody uses the word AI, because I'm ever so slightly older than you, and just be careful. But I've been around a while, and I fought social media years ago. Thought it was stupid, hated it, never going to do it. Now it's almost tough for me to not grab the phone out of my lap to look at something, right? And it's the same thing with AI, and Wes and I talk about it a lot too. And we've had a lot of great guests that we've got into the road of AI. And it's another part of, I think the important thing with AI from my perspective is not only everything it can do, like you just talked about. I use it a lot for travel too. Mine understands exactly the type of hotels I like to stay. I'll plug in. These are the anchor calls I need to make. I can leave as early as 5 o'clock in the morning from this spot, right? I need to be an hour and a half at each location unless I tell you different. You put all that stuff in, right?
Yep.
And it's like in nanoseconds, it's got the whole thing plugged in, or it comes back and says, Randy, you're way over aggressive. You're not going to make this. You got to find a give someplace, right? Okay, well, but so I know what you're saying, and I love that. But the funny thing is months ago, 6 months ago, I thought we were going to be overtaken by some AI thing, whatever that thing was, and we stay no, we may still happen. Who knows? The point is, we're all in the same game, right? And I think there's another friend of our show, Kevin Fox with Foxworks, is big in the world of AI, and like he'll tell you, the old saying that you're going to lose your job to somebody with AI, it's more that you're going to get yourself hurt or could potentially lose by not being good at AI yourself, right? Because you don't do anything not as good as they do, because you may still maybe, but you're not going to do it as fast and as quick. And they're on to the next 12 things when you're still trying to figure out how far is it from Greenville to Charlotte, right? I mean,
Right.
But with AI, you already had it booked and done before anybody else to figure out how many miles it is, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's the key. But more than that, and I'd love to hear your take on this, is it's the willingness to adapt. And that's what you've been talking about. AI is one of the things that we need to adapt to and learn to use. But more than that is becoming an adapter mindset, right? That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you would have told me 4 or 5 months ago what we'd be doing with AI today, I wouldn't have believed it, and I was kind of against it, to be honest with you. But I've heard the saying is, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You'll lose your job to somebody that knows how to use AI, because it's so advanced. It's changing. And I'm on level 1. I have a personal bot, but I'm on level 1, and I'm already can see. And I've been showing my kids, and their mindset of buying stuff, and they hate going to the store. They want to buy it online. And so everybody's in a different stage. It's not like you have to use AI to be part of the future, but you have to have that adaptive mindset to constantly be looking at what needs to change. And I travel around, I'm sure you do as well, travel around all over, go to several different lots and dealers, and you can be in the same town and see a big difference in mindsets. You go to one, it'll be super busy. And it's like, yeah, we're doing this. We have, there'll be customers everywhere. You go 10 minutes down the road and it's the economy's bad. Things aren't working. And it's like, well, when's the last, do you have a website? Well, not really. Do you advertise? Well, we do Facebook marketplace posts, and it's you can see that as you travel the road. And I'm sure you have as well, Randy, you can kind of see all the different things. And a lot of it comes down to just the mindset and be willing to try new things, being willing to adapt, but also, because a lot of times people try new things and, it doesn't work. Famous thing is advertising, right?
Mm-hmm.
You send out one postcard and you don't get nothing back. You do one Facebook post and you don't see anything. But it's that I like to say is consistency beats creativity every day. You can have the most creative idea, ad, video, but if you post it one time or you do one change in your business, it's going to work for a little bit, but it's the consistency of constantly looking at your business, looking to change, constantly advertising, stuff like that. So a lot of it is being willing to adapt.
Right. And adapt. And the last one that you hit on in the simple, which I really picked up on, and I remember from listening to you talk in York, was in being willing to embarrass yourself. And again, that's not going to do TikTok videos with goats, right? But when you go out on a limb, when you step out of your comfort zone to roll the dice, to try something new that makes sense, that you've thought about, you have to be a certain amount of willingness to embarrass yourself, because the bottom line is, as much as we could think about it and plan it, but it just may not work, right? I mean, we may have missed something. And so you've got to be willing to go, okay, I learned something. If nothing else, I learned what don't work. And we can toss that one off the table. At worst case, you learned that, right? But you're probably, most things that fail, as far as when it comes to plan, my experience has been, it wasn't all bad. There was just 1 or 2 factors out of 8 that didn't work that caused it to either fail or not be as successful as it could. So you learned what 2 don't work, but equally importantly, if not more, is you learned the 6 that do. So you don't have to fix all 8. You got to just fix the 2 that didn't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And, embarrass yourself is, as you said, we all wore these bright yellow shirts. And although I enjoy wearing the bright colors, there's people on our team that didn't. But even like yourself, a lot of people commented on it. And that's the thing of being, able to go out of your comfort zone. And the big thing that we see is we do, marketing and in-person videos, and it happens all the time. And I'm sure you see this as well. But when at first they're like, I can't be on film. I'm too nervous. I don't know what to say. And they get a couple on there. And then once they become natural with it, they become themselves and they're okay with messing up. You see a big turn. People want that. They don't want the staged,
right.
Everything's perfect. Like you ask them, well, what do you like watching on, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram? And they like the fails or the blooper reels.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to be in the blooper reel because they're nervous about embarrassing themselves. So once you embrace that and, have that mindset of like, hey, I'm going to try it no matter what. And you kind of you almost have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Right.
Once you get to that stage, I mean, it's on from there.
Right. And another thing we talked about a little bit earlier is I want to go back to your thoughts on it's a term that gets used a lot. It's almost a corporate buzzword that I don't use many corporate buzzwords because I'm about as far from a corporate kind of guy as you're going to get. But it fits. It's being customer centric, right? We all know what that means. It's a big word to say, just take care of the customer and be cognizant of what they want and need, right? But I think that I really want to hear your take because I know what it is because I see how you guys operate. But I'd love to hear your take on when I say that, when most of us say that, we're not saying the customer's always right, period, don't matter what. That's not what we're saying. And it wasn't Sears and Roebuck or Montgomery Ward. One of those made that statement years ago. The customer's always right. Well, no, they're not always. But even if they're wrong, but we can make it work, isn't that to our benefit as opposed to pointing our finger and saying, you are wrong, we're not going to do that? And the worst thing in the world to hear, and I feel like, and if I give credit to the wrong person, I apologize to him, but I feel like it was Jeffrey Gitomer might have said this, but if not, he'll take credit for it, I'm sure. But you talk about our policy. Well, guess what? As a customer, I have a policy too. And my policy is if you don't take care of me and you don't take care of my problems and my issues, my policy is I'm not pulling out my credit card again for you. Right?
Right.
Because, and guess what? My policy trumps yours because you need my business probably, and this is theoretical, more than I need your services because there's other people I can get that service from if you don't want to make me feel, welcome. Right. And I think we get too wrapped up and I think we get so wrapped up with, well, our policy says X, but can we say, and Wes and I talk about this, he knows, he's back there nodding, he knows where I'm going, but it could. And a short story, ice cream, pie at the end of the dinner, Wes and I said, does that come with ice cream? And the waitress says it could. Not no, not it's going to be an extra charge, not hemming and hawing. Instantly, it could. So why don't we do more? It could. Well, could you do this? And the first response is, in many cases, well, that's not our policy. But if you could, why can't we do that for you? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things with our acronym goes along with that. But everything we implement in any of our businesses is we kind of run it through that acronym. is this policy, I don't even like to use that word, but is this, thing going to be helping the customer or helping us? Are we after the numbers or are we after helping the customer? Are we, doing this because we're scared about the outcome? And so when you have something when you put the lens of the customer in your meetings, and I was part of one organization one time where they actually had a cutout of a customer they put up their meeting table. But the other person I really look up to is speaker wise is Jesse Cole, Savannah Bananas, the fans first mentality. I love watching his content, and it's very simple, is putting the fans first. And, a lot of times these big, meetings and policies, they come up with like, we had this one customer this one time that did this, so now we're going to have this policy. And it's like, it gets overwhelming, especially the bigger you get. If you're like a single unit, you're the one that runs the show, it doesn't matter. But as you get bigger, the policies get bigger, and you go back and look at them, and it's because of, you can almost put somebody's name beside the policy, and that's what happens to these big businesses is they lose the focus. They lose the thing. And we always like to say is make the customer feel like they won. So whether that's giving them a discount, there's a couple ways to approach it, of how you tell that customer yes or no. But when you make them like, hey, we don't give discounts, but let me go to bat for you, see if there's anything I can do to help you get this achieved. Then when you come back and say, hey, you know what, Randy, I got the boss to say yes, and we're going to be able to give you that, 5% off. Now that customer doesn't feel like that you just said yes. You went to bat for them. You got it. And now they're like the hero because they got something that nobody else gets. And that can be applied in many different ways, but make that customer. A lot of times we're so focused on getting the sale, getting that customer in, getting them out, which is important, getting them in and out fast, but make sure they have something as far as a memorable experience, something or they won, they got the discount. But there's a lot of ways to do that, and there's a lot of people that do really good at that, about giving it away, items away, just going above and beyond. But that's what gets overlooked so many times in business is we're just wanting the sale, and that's it.
Right. And you touched on it, and we want the sale always on our terms. And it's by nature a negotiation, right? By nature, you have money, I have a product or service that we would like to exchange with each other, right? So it's a negotiation at some point. But we always want to win, and most good negotiations are never 100%. Now, that's not to say that day in and day out, we're going to, whatever our price is, it's $1,000 and we're just going to automatically discount it every time. No, but if there's a reason and an ask and it makes sense, like you said, what does it hurt to do that? Or what does it hurt to go a little bit out of the way to do something we don't normally do? And I think, but what really struck me, what you said, Andrew, was one time, let me back up. We protect because of one time, one issue. We're going to make darn sure that 712 years from now, that one issue comes up again that might cost us $43. We're not going to do that because we have a policy for that, rather than just saying, happen, move on. Right. Does that make sense? I mean, we that's how most policies get developed, all because one thing, and I love that what you said, one thing happened. We got to get 12 meetings now. And we need a boardroom full of people because we got a policy for this, because Andrew, we gave away $43 on this deal. Oh, the world just ended, right? And that's silly.
It's the same thing in the RTO world I deal with every day. Is it's I think in this past month we've taken on 5 deals that had issues with another company that was like a one-off. They wanted this written in this document. And so it's like, you think that's not on our policy. The easy thing to do is say no. And it's not our policy. It's the easy thing. It gets them off the hook. But when you deep dive into it, what is the customer asking for? Does it make sense? And the answer has been every single time, Just do it. Make the customer happy. Because, I've heard this and I don't agree with it, but like in the industry, they're only buying a building every 10 years, which might be true. I'm sure it is, but it's the experience that you want that they go and talk about. You want that over the top. My dad was famous for this. He was in retail since I was a kid. And he had made it a point to remember everybody's name. And if he didn't know your name, he would guess your name. And he would keep a silver dollar or $50 in his pocket. And if he got it wrong, he'd give it to him. And that was his way of next time I better remember their name. And customers begin to think of it as a game. They would come in and hoping he didn't know their name. But customers remembered that because it was something different that wasn't, because I know sometimes people give him they weren't very excited when he would call, a lady by the wrong name. That's not really, probably the proper thing to do. Right. But he would do it because he was building that relationship with that customer and not just going by what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to say, hey, how are you? My name is Andrew. What is your name? It's just those little things that you can do that it's not always about giving money away, giving discounts. It's the little things you can do that are different, that maybe the one-offs where you're approving something that's not in your policy. That's what makes the difference. That's how you're going to be around, because AI does not do that.
Exactly. And last thing, because I don't want to be cognizant of your time, but I had that conversation just an hour ago on another podcast I was guesting on, is that you have that one opportunity sometimes in a noisy world. It's noisy with we just talked about AI, social media, all that stuff is way noisier than it used to be, right? There's less personal contact probably and less relationship building now than there ever was. It's not the old days of when 20, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So that means that the more you go back to that to some degree, using the technology to take away the stuff, it does advantage to spend 30 minutes scheduling flights, right? Give that to a bot and be done in 13 seconds and you're done. You can use that time for stuff that's more valuable. But I think we in today's world with the noise, the more relationship driven we are, it's seen because so many times it's back to just a transaction. And like you said, you want to get them in and out the door, not because you want them in and out the door, but because that's what the customer wants, right? So you're giving them a good experience. And I think that's a key in today's world is we just got to give more relationships to these people or develop more relationships. And it'll go further and it'll be seen more because there's not near as much of it, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. It's, people are so worried about everything that's going on. Just focus on what you can focus on, creating memorable experiences for your customer. Have your meetings whenever you have them. Make sure you include things like, how can we be better for the customer? How can we help the customer more? How can we be more memorable in people's buying experiences instead of the opposite? How do we make more money? I mean, obviously, we all want to make money. We all want to, create more revenue and get our profit up. But I think when you have the right mindset, and the perfect case study, perfect example, if you don't know who it is, Savannah Bananas, Jesse Cole.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, incredible story of even how much he's worth today off of not charging tax, not charging ticket fees, not charging for food, not, he just kind of changed the game. And it's easy to look at that and say, well, if I had a baseball team, I could do that. If I had this, I could do that. And I'm telling you, you can do that in your industry little by little. If you listen to his story, it didn't start off great. He was, broke a lot of times and it was easy to give up. So take that as inspiration. Start in your business today on what you can do to make the experience better little by little.
Love that. And I love Jesse. Love his story. Did that where the only thing you got to do different? You got to up your game to you got the right color shirt.
Yeah.
You just got to get the tux now, man. Come on.
Yeah. So we've had yellow for a long time now. I think before he was famous, but I kind of put it a couple months ago. I'm like, dude, we got the same coat. I need to get the little top hat and the
Exactly.
suit coat. I know. I need Banana Man.
The banana man. I like it. Well, hey, I appreciate, man. This is good stuff. I could talk to you for days. Maybe I'll see you in Daytona, but at the interim for now, Wes likes the should ask question. He always pops it up so I don't forget, because half the time I do. But I remember this time. What do you wish in Andrew's world, personally or business wise, shed industry, out of the industry, that I wish Randy would have asked and he didn't? Or I just wish people that see me in the street and you're chatting, sitting at the restaurant, the coffee shop, what do you wish people would ask you that they just don't? What's important to you that people ought to know? Could be about you personally, about your business, your faith, your belief in mankind. We need something big or little. Little's fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the most important thing would be about my faith. That'd be number one. But as far as like business goes, I don't think that it should ask me, but I think that the common question that doesn't get asked enough is, how do I become better? And what I found, especially coming into this industry and being new, I asked a lot of people that question, and I was very surprised how many people would tell me everything I wanted to know that I never thought they would, because people genuinely care for the most part, and they'll help you. But a lot of times our fear of embarrassment, of rejection, we don't ask people, like, it's always a big thing. Don't ask people how much they make. Don't ask people this. Don't ask people that. Sometimes asking those questions, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get, we're competitors. I can't answer that. But what you'll find is people genuinely care. When you ask that question, it'll help you out. And if I can ever help anybody out, feel free to reach out with any questions, even if you're a competitor or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I'm always willing to help. So I guess that'd be my answer. I guess if right off the cuff would be, how do I become better?
I love that. I think it's a question we could always ask ourselves and everybody, right?
Yeah.
Andrew, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being on. We'll do it again someday. This was a good.
Okay.
I could have went on for another hour or two, but I always want to be cognizant of time. So I appreciate you.
All righty. Thank you so much for having me on.
You bet. Thank you, buddy. There you go. Andrew Boyle. Keep it simple. I love it. I love his concept. I love what he talks about. If you're in the shed business, want to be in the shed business, RTO, or just want to know stuff, the guy's got it together. Like I said, I watched him talk and was mesmerized by his story and the way he sees things, the way he views things. So another great day with a guy doing what we love and loving what we do. You only get one go around, so live it, love it, own it, here on planet Earth at least. And you'll make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.